Imagine being thrown into a pit by your own brothers, not strangers, not enemies. Your brothers, the same boys you grew up with, the same hands that once held yours. Now, dragging you to the edge, laughing while you beg, and tossing you into a dark hole in the ground like a piece of trash. But that's not where the story ends, that's where it begins. Because the boy they buried alive, he would one day hold the power of life and death over every single one of them. This is the story of Joseph. In the ancient land of Canaan, there lived a man named Jacob, a man who had wrestled with God and lived to tell the tale. He had 12 sons, 12 strong, capable young men. But there was one he loved above all others, Joseph, the 11th son, the son of his old age, the son of Rachel, the woman Jacob had loved his entire life. Jacob didn't hide his favoritism. He couldn't. Or maybe he didn't want to. He gave Joseph a gift, a richly ornamented coat. Some say it was many colors. Others say it had long sleeves, a garment reserved for those who didn't work in the fields, a garment that said, "This one is special, this one is different, this one is mine." The brothers saw it, and they hated him. Not mild dislike, not jealousy they could shake off, deep, burning, consuming hatred. But Joseph, young, bright-eyed, completely unaware of how dangerous love can make people, did something that poured fuel on the fire. He told them his dreams. Joseph woke one morning from a dream that felt like more than a dream. "Listen," he told his brothers, his face glowing with excitement. "We were binding sheaves of grain in the field, and suddenly my sheaf rose up and stood upright, and your sheaves gathered around it and bowed down to mine." Silence. Then, cold, cutting words from his brothers. "Do you actually think you're going to rule over us, reign over us?" They hated him more. But Joseph wasn't done. He had another dream. This time, the sun, the moon, and 11 stars were bowing down to him. He told his father, he told his brothers, even his father rebuked him. "What is this dream you have dreamed? Shall your mother and I and your brothers bow ourselves to the ground before you?" But Jacob, even as he scolded, kept the matter in his mind. The brothers? They kept something too, a plan. One day, Jacob sent Joseph on a journey. "Go check on your brothers," he said. "They're pasturing the flocks near Shechem. Come back and tell me how they are." Joseph didn't hesitate. He put on his coat. He walked out into the open country, alone, searching for his brothers. They saw him coming from a distance, and that distance, that stretch of ground between them, gave them time. Time to talk, time to plan, time to decide. "Here comes the dreamer," one of them said. The words dripped with contempt. "Come now, let us kill him, throw him into one of the pits. We'll say a fierce animal devoured him, then we'll see what becomes of his dreams." The plan was death. But the oldest brother, Reuben, pulled back from the edge. "Let's not take his life," he urged them. "Throw him into this pit in the wilderness, but don't lay a hand on him." His secret intention. "Come back later. Pull Joseph out. Return him to his father." But Reuben walked away. And that was the moment everything changed. Joseph arrived, smiling perhaps, calling out to his brothers. They grabbed him. They stripped him of his coat, that coat, the symbol of everything they resented, and they threw him into a dry, empty pit. Then they sat down to eat. While their brother screamed from the darkness below, while his voice echoed off the walls of that pit, they sat down, broke out their food, and ate a meal. Think about that. While they ate, a caravan appeared on the horizon. Ishmaelite traders, merchants heading down to Egypt, their camels loaded with spices and balm and myrrh. Judah, the fourth brother, looked at the caravan, then looked at the pit, and had an idea. "What do we gain if we kill our brother and cover his blood? Come, let's sell him to the Ishmaelites. Let's not harm him ourselves. After all, he is our brother, our own flesh." The others agreed. They pulled Joseph out of the pit, and they sold him. 20 pieces of silver, that's all Joseph was worth to them. 20 coins, changing hands as the merchants loaded him onto a camel and disappeared toward Egypt. When Reuben came back, expecting to find his brother in the pit so he could rescue him, he found nothing. He tore his clothes. "The boy is gone! What am I going to do?" But they couldn't tell their father what they had done. So they took Joseph's coat. They slaughtered a goat. They dipped the coat in the blood, and they brought it to Jacob. "We found this. Is this your son's coat?" Jacob recognized it immediately. His body buckled. "A fierce animal has devoured him. Joseph is without doubt torn to pieces." And Jacob tore his garments, put on sackcloth, and wept for his son for days. His children tried to comfort him. He refused. "I will go down to the grave, mourning for my son." Meanwhile, far away, in chains on a road to Egypt, Joseph was very much alive. Egypt, the most powerful civilization on earth, a land of pharaohs, pyramids, and absolute power. Joseph arrived as a slave and was sold to a man named Potiphar, an officer in Pharaoh's house, a captain of the guard. And here, in the rubble of his destroyed life, something remarkable happened. Joseph didn't break. He worked, he served, he gave everything he had, and the Lord was with him. Everything Joseph touched prospered. Potiphar noticed. He promoted Joseph again and again until Joseph was running the entire household. For a moment, just a moment, it seemed like things might be turning around. Then came Potiphar's wife. She wanted Joseph. Day after day she pressed him. Day after day he refused. "How could I do this great wickedness," Joseph told her, "and sin against God?" One day, when the house was empty, when no one else was around, she grabbed him by his garment. He ran and left his garment in her hand. A familiar scene, another garment, another betrayal. She screamed, told the servants Joseph had attacked her, showed them the garment as proof. When Potiphar came home, she told him the same lie. And Joseph, the man who had done nothing wrong, was thrown into prison, into the pit again, deeper this time. But even in prison, the Lord was with Joseph. The warden noticed something about this prisoner, something different, something extraordinary. He put Joseph in charge of all the other prisoners, and one day, 2 new prisoners arrived, Pharaoh's chief cupbearer and his chief baker. Both had offended Pharaoh. Both were now locked in the same prison as Joseph. One morning, Joseph noticed they looked troubled. "Why do you look so sad today?" "We had dreams," they said, "and there's no one to interpret them." Joseph looked at them. "Do not interpretations belong to God? Tell me your dreams." The cupbearer went first. His dream, a vine with 3 branches, blossoms, clusters of grapes. He pressed them into Pharaoh's cup and gave it to Pharaoh. Joseph smiled. "The 3 branches are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift up your head and restore you to your position." Then came the ask, the human, desperate, heartbreaking ask. "But when it goes well for you, remember me. Mention me to Pharaoh. Get me out of this place. I was stolen from the land of the Hebrews, and I have done nothing that deserves this pit." The baker, encouraged, shared his dream too. But this one was different. Joseph's face fell. "The 3 baskets are 3 days. In 3 days, Pharaoh will lift up your head from off you. He will hang you on a tree, and the birds will eat your flesh." 3 days later, it was Pharaoh's birthday, a celebration. He restored the cupbearer to his position, and he hanged the baker, exactly as Joseph had said. But the cupbearer, in the joy of his restoration, in the relief of his freedom, forgot Joseph. 2 more years passed in that prison, 2 more years of silence. 2 years later, Pharaoh had a dream. 2 dreams, actually, back to back in one night. In the first, he stood by the Nile. 7 fat, healthy cows came up out of the river and grazed in the reed grass. Then 7 other cows came up, gaunt, ugly, thin, and ate the 7 fat cows. Pharaoh woke up, shaken. He fell back asleep. In the second dream, 7 full, good heads of grain grew on a single stalk. Then 7 thin, blighted heads sprouted and swallowed the 7 good heads. Pharaoh woke again, troubled to his core. He called for every magician, every wise man in Egypt. Not one of them could interpret the dreams. Then, finally, the cupbearer remembered. He remembered the Hebrew in prison. He remembered the dreams. He remembered the interpretations that came true, word for word. He told Pharaoh. And Pharaoh sent for Joseph. They rushed him out of the dungeon, shaved him, changed his clothes, and brought him before the most powerful man on earth. Pharaoh looked at this young Hebrew and said, I have had a dream, and no one can interpret it. I've heard it said of you that when you hear a dream, you can interpret it." Joseph's answer was immediate. "It is not in me. God will give Pharaoh a favorable answer." Pharaoh told him the dreams. Joseph stood straight, steady. The two dreams are one. God has revealed to Pharaoh what he is about to do. 7 years of great abundance are coming throughout the land of Egypt. Then 7 years of famine will follow, so severe that the abundance will not be remembered. The famine will devastate the land. Then Joseph did something bold, something that could have gotten him killed. He offered unsolicited advice to Pharaoh. "Now let Pharaoh look for a discerning and wise man and put him in charge of all Egypt. Let him appoint commissioners to collect 1/5 of the harvest during the 7 good years and store it. That food will be a reserve for the 7 years of famine, so Egypt will not be destroyed." Pharaoh stared at him, then turned to his officials. "Can we find anyone like this man, one in whom is the Spirit of God?" He turned back to Joseph. "Since God has made all this known to you, there is no one so discerning and wise as you. You shall be in charge of my palace. All my people are to submit to your orders. Only with respect to the throne will I be greater than you." He took his signet ring off his finger and put it on Joseph's hand. The boy who was thrown in a pit, the slave who was falsely imprisoned, was now the second most powerful man in Egypt. Everything happened exactly as Joseph said. 7 years of extraordinary abundance. Joseph traveled across Egypt, collecting grain. So much grain it was like the sand of the sea, beyond measure, beyond counting. He stored it in cities across the land. Then the famine came. Not just in Egypt, everywhere. All the surrounding lands, all the nations, people starved, crops failed, wells dried up, children cried, and there was nothing to feed them. But Egypt had food. Word spread. People came from every direction, pouring into Egypt, desperate, begging. And in Canaan, an old man named Jacob looked at his sons and said, "Why do you just keep looking at each other? I have heard that there is grain in Egypt. Go down there and buy some for us so that we may live and not die." 10 brothers stood up. 10 brothers who had thrown another brother into a pit, sold him to slave traders, and let their father weep himself hollow for 20 years. 10 brothers got on the road to Egypt. Benjamin, the youngest, Joseph's only full brother, stayed home. Jacob couldn't bear to risk losing him. They didn't know what was waiting for them in Egypt. They didn't know who was waiting for them. When the brothers arrived in Egypt, they were brought before the governor, the man who controlled all grain distribution. They bowed, faces to the ground, and Joseph looked down at the 10 men prostrating themselves before him and recognized them immediately. But they did not recognize him. He was dressed in Egyptian linen and gold. He wore Pharaoh's signet ring. He spoke Egyptian. He was no longer the frightened 17-year-old boy they'd thrown in a pit. He was a man, a powerful, commanding, dangerous man. Joseph disguised his emotions. He spoke to them harshly through an interpreter. "Where do you come from?" "From the land of Canaan," they said, "to buy food." "No," Joseph said, his eyes hard. "You are spies. You have come to see where our land is unprotected." They panicked. "No, no, your servants are 12 brothers, sons of one man in Canaan. The youngest is with our father, and one is no more. One is no more." Joseph felt something move in his chest. He turned away from them for a moment. He put them in custody for 3 days. 3 days to think. 3 days to sit in the dark, just like he once sat in a pit while they ate their lunch. On the 3rd day, he released them, with conditions. One brother would stay in Egypt as a guarantee. The rest would return home, get their youngest brother, and bring him back as proof they were telling the truth. And then, while they were talking among themselves in their language, thinking the Egyptian governor couldn't understand them, "Surely we are being punished because of our brother," Reuben said. "We saw how distressed he was when he pleaded with us for his life. We wouldn't listen. That's why this distress has come upon us." Joseph turned away. He wept. Not tears of sadness, not tears of anger. Something more complicated than either. He composed himself, returned, took Simeon, and had him bound before their eyes, had their bags filled with grain, secretly had each man's silver returned and put back in his sack, and sent them home. When the brothers returned home and opened their sacks, there was the silver, every coin sitting right on top of the grain. Their hearts sank. "What is this that God has done to us?" They told their father everything, the accusations. Simeon held hostage, the demand for Benjamin. Jacob's grief broke open again. "You have deprived me of my children. Joseph is no more. Simeon is no more. And now you want to take Benjamin?" Reuben made a desperate offer. "Kill my 2 sons if I don't bring Benjamin back." Jacob refused, but the famine didn't stop. It pressed down harder, relentless, unforgiving. When they had eaten the last of the grain, Jacob finally, reluctantly, agonizingly, agreed. Judah stepped forward and made a personal guarantee. "I myself will be surety for him. If I do not bring him back, let me bear the blame before you forever." They brought gifts, double the silver, and Benjamin. When Joseph saw Benjamin, his brother, his only full brother, the son of the same mother, something in him nearly broke. He ordered a feast prepared at his house. The brothers arrived at Joseph's house terrified. They thought they were being brought in because of the silver, to be enslaved. They rushed to the steward, trying to explain, offering to pay it all back. The steward waved them off. "Don't be afraid. Your God, the God of your father, must have put treasure in your sacks." At the feast, Joseph came in. They presented their gifts. They bowed. He looked at Benjamin. "Is this your youngest brother, the one you told me about?" His voice stayed steady, but just barely. "God be gracious to you, my son." Then he left the room quickly and wept in private. He washed his face, came back, and the meal began. Joseph wasn't ready to reveal himself, not yet. There was one more thing he needed to know. Had they changed? He had their bags filled with grain again, and this time he had his own silver cup hidden in Benjamin's sack. The next morning they left, joy in their hearts, grain on their camels. Simeon was free. Benjamin was coming home. Everything was going to be all right. They'd barely left the city when Joseph's steward caught up with them. "Why have you repaid good with evil? My master's silver cup, the one he drinks from, the one he uses for divination, has been stolen." Confusion, outrage. "We would never do such a thing. Search us. If any of us has it, he shall die, and the rest of us will become your slaves." They opened their sacks. The cup was in Benjamin's sack. The brothers tore their clothes. They loaded up their donkeys and went back to the city. Back to Joseph, they threw themselves on the ground before him. "What is this you have done?" Joseph said. Judah answered. He had no answer, no explanation. He only had the truth. "What can we say? How can we prove our innocence? God has uncovered your servant's guilt. We are your slaves, all of us, including the one who was found to have the cup." "No," Joseph said. "Only the man in whose possession the cup was found will become my slave. The rest of you go back to your father in peace." And then Judah stepped forward. And what he said next changed everything. Judah stood before the second most powerful man in Egypt, a man who could have him killed with a word, and he began to speak. He told the whole story. Their old father, their youngest brother, how Jacob had already lost one son and could not lose another, how Jacob's life was bound up in Benjamin's life. "If the boy is not with us when I return, and our father sees that the boy isn't with us, he will die. We will have brought the gray hair of our father down to the grave in sorrow." Then Judah said the words that split Joseph open. "I gave my father a personal guarantee for the boy. I said, if I don't bring him back to you, I will bear the blame before you all my life. So now, please, let me remain here as your slave in place of the boy. Let the boy go back with his brothers. How can I go back to my father if the boy is not with me? I cannot see the suffering that would come on my father." Judah, the same Judah who had said, "Let's sell him," was now offering to be a slave in his brother's place. They had changed. Joseph couldn't hold it anymore. He looked around at all his attendants, all his Egyptian household, and commanded them, "Leave me." Everyone left. And then the governor of Egypt, the most feared man in the land, wept, not quietly. The sound of his crying was so loud that the Egyptians outside heard it. Even Pharaoh's household heard it. Then he looked at his 10 terrified brothers and said 2 words in Hebrew, "I am Joseph." They couldn't speak. They were terrified. The man they had sold, the boy whose screams they had ignored, standing before them, alive, powerful, holding their lives in his hands. Joseph spoke again, his voice breaking. "I am Joseph. Is my father still alive?" Silence. "Come close to me." They came closer. "I am your brother Joseph, the one you sold into Egypt." He wasn't accusing, he was undoing something. 20 years of distance, collapsing in a single moment. And now, do not be distressed, do not be angry with yourselves for selling me here, because it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you. He said it again, because they needed to hear it again. It was not you who sent me here, it was God. He embraced Benjamin and wept. Benjamin wept too. Then he kissed all his brothers and wept over them, and only then did they finally talk. The news reached Pharaoh. Joseph's brothers had come. Pharaoh was overjoyed. He told Joseph to bring his entire family to Egypt. "Never mind about your belongings. The best of all Egypt will be yours." The brothers left Egypt loaded with gifts, wagons, food, provisions, silver, and fine clothing. Benjamin got 5 times what the others received. They arrived in Canaan. They walked up to their father. "Joseph is still alive," they said, "and he is governor of all Egypt." Jacob's heart stopped. He didn't believe them. They kept talking. They showed him everything, the wagons, the gifts, the abundance. And something came back to life in the old man's eyes. "My son Joseph is still alive. I will go and see him before I die." Jacob set out for Egypt. Joseph got in his chariot and rode to meet his father. When he saw him, his father, the man who had loved him, who had wept for him for 20 years, who had refused to be comforted, Joseph threw himself on his father's neck and wept for a long, long time. Jacob finally spoke. "Now I can die, since I have seen for myself that you are still alive." The boy in the pit became the man who saved the world. The dreams they mocked became the dreams that fed nations. The coat they stripped away was replaced by Pharaoh's robes. Joseph's story isn't just ancient history. It's a blueprint, a reminder that what is meant to break you, the betrayals, the false accusations, the long years of silence, the pits, the prisons, might just be the road to your destiny. The question isn't whether you'll go through darkness. The question is whether you'll keep going. Joseph kept going, and the stars, every single one of them, eventually bowed. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear it today, and subscribe to the channel.